What if everything you've been told about power is wrong? In a world where we're taught to stand out, build a brand, and show them who you are, one voice from the past whispers a chilling contradiction. The more you show off, the weaker you become. That voice belongs to Niccolò Machiavelli, the Renaissance philosopher often dismissed as cynical, even evil. But behind his reputation lies a deeper truth, one that is echoed through centuries of politics, war, and empire. True power hides in the shadows. The ones who boast the loudest are often masking insecurity. The ones who speak least move most. In this video, we'll explore Machiavelli's dark wisdom on why humility isn't just a virtue, it's a weapon. We'll look at emperors who conquered through silence, rulers who lost everything because they couldn't resist the spotlight, and why even today the smartest players don't advertise their hand. This is not motivational fluff, it's survival strategy, from the mind of history's most misunderstood realist. The substance over appearance paradox. At first glance, Machiavelli may seem to advocate for appearances. He famously advised rulers that it is not necessary for a prince to have all the good qualities, but it is very necessary to appear to have them. This seems to contradict the claim that showing off leads to powerlessness. However, a deeper look reveals the distinction Machiavelli made between strategic illusion and vain display. While it is useful for a ruler to appear just, kind, or brave when it serves their interests, Machiavelli did not advocate for arrogance or open flaunting of power. To Machiavelli, true power is quiet and unshakable. It is not threatened by perceptions because it rests on solid foundations, loyalty, military strength, or the ability to manipulate behind the scenes. A ruler who constantly brags about their strength reveals insecurity. Displaying power too openly invites envy, resistance, and rebellion. Discretion, not exhibition, is the armor of the wise ruler. Historical examples: the power of quiet control. Throughout history, those who have wielded power effectively often did so quietly. Take the example of Augustus Caesar, the first emperor of Rome. Though he had more power than any Roman leader before him, he famously rejected the title of king or dictator, preferring the humbler title of princeps, meaning first citizen. This deliberate modesty made his rule more acceptable to the Roman public, who feared monarchy. By downplaying his authority, Augustus ensured his supremacy lasted for decades. Contrast this with Louis XVI of France, who embodied royal excess and displayed his power flamboyantly through opulence and the construction of the Palace of Versailles. His inability to mask his privilege and arrogance ultimately helped spark the French Revolution. His visible extravagance made him a target, proving Machiavelli's point: ostentation is dangerous. Machiavelli's insight also applies to military leaders like George Washington, who refused the title of king and voluntarily relinquished power after 2 terms as president. This act of humility elevated him in the eyes of his contemporaries and secured his legacy. By refusing to show off, he solidified his power and set a precedent for democratic governance. Why showing off invites enemies? Machiavelli believed that a leader must manage perception carefully, not boastfully. When someone openly flaunts their power, wealth, or status, they attract enemies. Human nature, Machiavelli argued, is inherently competitive and envious. Those who feel inferior will plot to undermine those who show off. A leader who seems humble is less likely to provoke jealousy or suspicion. This principle extends beyond politics. In corporate settings, the arrogant executive who constantly highlights their achievements may rise quickly but can also become a lightning rod for criticism. Colleagues and subordinates may seek to sabotage them, while the quiet, competent leader gains loyalty and respect without needing to brag. Furthermore, showing off creates unrealistic expectations. Once power is openly displayed, one must maintain the illusion, a tiring and dangerous game. A failure to live up to the show can result in loss of respect and authority. For Machiavelli, avoiding this trap is key to longevity. Modern applications: the social media trap. In today's world, Machiavelli's warning against showing off is more relevant than ever. Social media platforms reward visibility, status, and the illusion of success. Yet constant self-promotion often backfires. Studies show that excessive social media use is linked to anxiety and low self-esteem, not just among audiences but also among influencers themselves. The pressure to perform and project power leads to emotional burnout and reputational risk. Celebrities, politicians, and business moguls frequently suffer backlash from flaunting their lifestyles or achievements online. Cancel culture thrives on exposing the arrogant and the boastful. Those who quietly work behind the scenes, build networks and influence, subtly tend to have more staying power. In this sense, Machiavelli's dark wisdom exposes the hollow nature of performative success. In corporate environments, employees who constantly talk about their contributions may get short-term recognition, but risk being seen as self-centered. Meanwhile, those who deliver results consistently, support others, and remain low-key are often entrusted with greater responsibilities. An echo of Machiavelli's philosophy. Machiavellian humility, a strategy, not a virtue. It's important to clarify that Machiavelli did not promote humility for its moral value. Unlike religious or ethical thinkers, he saw humility as a tool, a way to avoid attention, reduce risk, and consolidate control. This is what makes his advice so dark. It acknowledges that virtue can be faked, and that modesty can be weaponized. A ruler who appears modest disarms opponents and gains the trust of allies. They may even appear vulnerable to bait enemies into underestimating them. Machiavelli did not advise against pride itself, but against its open display. Behind closed doors, a prince may harbor ambition, pride, and even cruelty, but in public they must control the narrative. This idea contrasts with other traditions of leadership. In Confucian or Christian models, humility is a genuine ethical stance. In Machiavelli's world, it is part of the performance, yet the result is the same. Humility, whether sincere or not, is more powerful than boasting. Conclusion. Niccolò Machiavelli's counsel to avoid showing off may seem counterintuitive in a culture obsessed with self-promotion. Yet it carries timeless wisdom. True power often lies in discretion, subtlety, and control over perception. Leaders who avoid ostentation are harder to attack, more respected, and more enduring. From Augustus to Washington, from boardrooms to social media, history vindicates Machiavelli's insight that those who boast are often insecure, and insecurity is the seed of downfall. In an era that equates visibility with value, Machiavelli reminds us of a harsher truth. Those who shine too brightly are often the first to burn. His dark wisdom remains a powerful antidote to the illusion that showing off equals strength. In reality, as Machiavelli knew all too well, the most dangerous power is the kind no one sees coming.